Hello everyone, how are you doing? My name is Ryan Kelly and I'm going to be hosting you on another episode of Know Your Bosses. Know Your Bosses, if you're not aware, is a show where I'll review some of the most classic of bosses to the less known bosses. I'll rank them on their difficulty, creativity, appearance, and fighting style. And in the end, the boss will get a ranking from 1, avoid the fight, to 10, pursue the fight. So now that I've quickly gone over the rules, we can talk about the boss we'll be fighting today. Today I'm going to be discussing location. Quadraxis is located in the dark ether of Hive and is in the Hive Temple. In order to be able to access this boss, you'll need to have collected all 3 of the Dark Temple keys from the Hive. Those 3 keys are located in the Cognitive Chamber, the Hive Gyro Chamber, and the Aerial Training Site. Once you have all 3 of the keys, then you are able to go to the Hive Temple access, open the door to the Hive Temple, and fight the Quadraxis. I'd recommend saving and healing before taking this boss on, because it can be especially hard to fight if it's your first time. There's an area before the boss where you can get some health and ammo by hitting these black blobs. Boss information. Quadraxis is the 13th boss in the game and is the guardian of the Hive's energy controller. This boss is one of the most interesting ones from the game because it is the only mechanical boss in the whole game. In fact, the Quadraxis was made by the Lumioths. Now, we don't know which Lumioth made Quadraxis, but we can assume that it was most likely O'Lear, the last sentient of the Sanctuary Temple. Also, interestingly enough, there are incomplete pieces of other Quadraxis scattered throughout the Sanctuary Temple. So there are supposed to be multiple Quadraxis at one point, but for whatever reason, only one was made. Quadraxis is also similarly built to the quads, but of course Quadraxis is quite a bit larger than the quads. Speaking of its size, the Quadraxis is actually the largest boss in the Metroid Prime Trilogy, and is one of the largest bosses in the Metroid series. The Quadraxis design actually has some interesting details to it. First of all, the 3 eyes on Quadraxis' head form a triangle, which resembles the Lumioth's letter F. This symbol can be found on many other artifacts of the Lumioths, including the Lumioths themselves. Originally, Quadraxis was supposed to be blue with green armor. We know this based off of screenshots from when the game was being developed. Here's some of those screenshots and some other interesting pictures. If you're going to try to 100% this game, then you're going to need to get all 5 of Quadraxis scans, being the Quadraxis itself, the damaged Quadraxis, the shielded head module, the stunned head module, and the final head module. Here's something interesting about the final head module. In Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, the unlockable artwork for Skytown shows a strange structure, with a Quadraxis-style head atop it. I wonder what this is going to be used for. I guess we'll never know. This next fact is going to be really interesting to the Legend of Zelda fans. There's a boss from Twilight Princess that is very similar to a fight with Quadraxis, being Star-Lord. Both fights have a phase where you attack the entire body of the boss, and a phase where you just attack the floating head. Metroid Prime 2 was released in 2004, while Twilight Princess was released in 2006. So I wonder if this was a coincidence, or if Star-Lord was loosely based off of the Quadraxis. One last interesting fact about the Quadraxis is that if you look in the data of Metroid Prime 2 Echo's bonus disc, then you will see that the Quadraxis is named the Steadfast Class Guardian. What's even more fascinating about this is that the Steadfast also contained Splitter Micro Factories that generate Splinter-class Sentry drones, which are the quads that appear in the final game. Strategy. Before fighting the Quadraxis, make sure that you have full health and ammo because you'll need it in order to win this fight. Also, I would recommend to have at least 7 or 8 energy tanks collected for this fight. Now, if you're doing a 100% run, then you should have 9 energy tanks by this point in the game. Also, one thing to keep in mind before starting this fight is that there are no safe zones, like there are in previous boss fights that take place in the Dark Aether. So, that means that you're going to want to finish this fight as quickly as you can. Anyways, let's get into the fight. Quadraxis has 3 phases to its fight. In this phase, its attacks are that it will spin in the middle of the room and try sucking you in to do a lot of damage. It will shoot the Annihilator beam at you. It will use a lock-on laser that will make your screen blurry and do damage to you. And it will create huge electric shockwaves every single time it jumps. In order to avoid the spinning attack, just get in your morph ball and use the boost ball to get to the corner of the room and stay there till the spinning stops. The laser attacks can be tricky to dodge, so the best way to avoid them is either using the boost ball as it's firing the laser, or to run under the Quadraxis' head. So now that you know how to avoid its attacks, let's talk about how you can attack it. What you need to do in order to take out its legs is to break the kneecaps and the glowing red orbs on its feet. In order to be able to take out the kneecaps, you'll need to hit the kneecaps when they are glowing blue, by using regular missiles or super missiles. As for the red orbs, you will need to get into your morph ball, boost through them, and hit them with your morph ball bombs. Also, every time you break an orb or a knee, you will get ammo and health. Make sure to grab as much ammo and health as you can. You'll need to break all 4 of its knees and orbs, and then you'll get to phase 2 of the fight. In phase 2 of its fight, it will attack you with its Annihilator beam, lock-on laser, and be able to summon dark quads to try to hurt you. For this phase of the fight, you will need to use the Echo Visor. The Echo Visor will show you that the Quadraxis' head is getting signals from its body. You'll need to shoot the sonic emitter with a super missile in order to cut off the signal. Then you'll be able to see 4 long antennae jutting out of its head. Also, when you break the signal with the body and the head, this is when the dark quads start to come and attack you. They're not too much of a problem. If you start to focus on them, then you'll waste precious time to take out the 4 antennae. In order to take the antennae out, just lock onto one of them and shoot them with a super missile. Keep in mind that the sonic link between the body and the head can be restored if you take too long to take out the 4 antennae. If this happens, then you can take out the sonic emitter the same way you did before. Once you take out all 4 of the antennae, then it will break the glass coverings on its legs and its head and go on to the final phase. When it breaks the glass coverings on its legs and head, it will reveal spider tracks on its legs and head. And the head will have 2 slots where you'll need to use your morph ball bombs to deliver the final blow. The head is still functional, but in order to make it stunned, you'll need to hit it with the light beam. Once it's stunned, you'll be able to finish it off. When the head is stunned, you'll need to get on top of the spider tracks on its legs and jump to its head and blow up one of the 2 slots. Do that one more time and then you will have successfully taken down the Quadraxis. Rewards. Once you finally manage to take down the Quadraxis, you will be rewarded with the Annihilator beam, which is a beam that is powered by both light and dark energy and fires matter-antimatter shots that home in on enemy targets. It can also open gray doors and can supercharge light beacons and crystals. So basically, this weapon does a lot of damage and is really useful for taking down harder enemies, as well as helping you progress further through the game. Final thoughts. In this section of the video, I will be talking about how the gameplay, design, difficulty, fun factor, and creativity weigh in on my opinion on whether I think a boss is good or not. Anyway, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's start this section. The fight with Quadraxis implements almost every one of Samus's upgrades that you've gotten up to that point in the game. You'll need to use your Morph Ball boost and bombs in order to explode the orbs on its feet. You'll need to use the missiles and super missiles in order to blow up its knees. And you'll need to use the spider tracks on its legs and the jump ability in order to be able to deliver the final blow to Quadraxis. This is a great way to test the player. You have to know how each one of your new upgrades work in order to be able to beat this boss. And because there are no safe zones in this fight, it forces you to have to move quickly, because you're always being damaged by the Dark Aether. The gameplay in this fight is thrilling, and always has you using different abilities to take it down. And this fight is made even better because of Quadraxis' very great futuristic design. Metroid is known for having some really great looking bosses, and Quadraxis is no exception to this. Now, it's not necessarily a super hard boss fight, but it is a fight that can take some time to beat because you have to figure out how each puzzle works. For a good amount of the bosses in this game, the puzzles for the boss are not that hard to figure out. But Quadraxis' puzzles took me a little bit to figure out, and that is what makes Quadraxis so fun. You have to figure out how to solve each one of its puzzles while you're trying to not die from its attacks or from the atmosphere. I definitely would say that the Quadraxis is one of the most creative bosses in the whole game. Its appearance, fight, lore, and gimmick are all just so creative and drastically different from other bosses in the game and even the series. So with all of that in mind, my score for Quadraxis is a 10 out of 10. Pursue the fight. So what do you think about this boss? Do you think it's a boss that deserves a higher or lower ranking? Let me know in the comments below if you enjoyed this video or not. Also, make sure to click the like button if you liked the video, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. My name is Ryan Kelly, and I'll see you in the next episode of Know Your Bosses.